on Twitter once we're up. All right, looks like we are live now. This is Drew and John here, Y-Ball Starters, going live. Gonzaga is headed to the Final Four for the second time in program history. This is the first time they have ever been 30-0. They have not lost a game in over a year, and now, as the number one overall seed, they are heading to the Final Four. They'll be taking on the winner of UCLA Michigan, which that game tips off in about 10 minutes here. Tune in, send in your questions about the Zags. They just toppled USC, who had been rolling themselves until the Elite Eight, and then just, they just got they ran to a buzzsaw. I'm putting some up on Twitter here.
That's just crazy too. Yeah, UCLA had been rolling. I mean, UCLA rolled Oregon, who was rolling too.
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, obviously Michigan and UCLA, winner of that game gets the Zags in the Final Four. And early on, you could just tell tonight that USC was outmatched, especially in guard play. And there was all the talk about, can Drew Timme match up against the athleticism of the Mobley brothers, especially Evan Mobley? And you could tell very quickly that Evan Mobley he's a heck of an athlete. He's an enormous athlete, actually. But Drew Timme's footwork and skill and size was just too much. And Timme, I wonder if he heard a little bit of that chatter of, can Timme match up with the athleticism? Timme, 23 points, 10 of 19. Gonzaga shoots 50% from the field. And what's funny is Gonzaga actually struggled quite a bit from the 3-point line. USC cooled off even more, though, after their extremely hot shooting first three games. USC only shoots 26%. Gonzaga, not much better at 33%, but it didn't matter because Gonzaga was so dominant on their 2-point shots. 23 points for Drew Timme. Corey Kispert and Jalen Suggs both with 18. Really efficient game for Suggs. 18 points on 7 of 11 shooting, 10 points, 8 assists, almost a triple-double, actually, for Jalen Suggs. And they said on the broadcast that would be the first tournament triple-double since our boy Andre Miller did it back when he was at Utah.
Yeah. Who did Andre Miller play for, in college?
He went to Utah, apparently, which I actually didn't know that until...
Weird.
Kispert, not a super efficient game for him shooting, but a really good floor game all around. He only goes 6 of 19, 3 of 10 from 3, but he had some timely shots. 18 points. He grabbed 8 big rebounds. I mean, Gonzaga out-rebounded USC, the supposedly bigger, more athletic USC, 41-29. Gonzaga has not looked challenged yet this tournament, and they've played 4 games, and now they're in the Final Four.
It's crazy. You almost wonder, how much of a challenge, does Michigan have a legitimate shot at beating Gonzaga with how much Gonzaga's rolling?
Yeah, and this is obviously, we're assuming, I think Michigan's going to beat UCLA. I really do.
I'd be surprised if UCLA won. Hope for an upset. I mean, they're surprising me. I never thought they would make it past the first round. Maybe they can pull a surprise, but you have to think Michigan is the team that has a better chance against Gonzaga. How much of a chance? I'm not sure either, though, because they honestly, USC is arguably bigger and more athletic than Michigan is at this point without Livers. So you wonder what that game looks like. I mean, I guess Michigan has a center more than UCLA does, but still, you wonder if Gonzaga is going to get challenged till the final, which is so bizarre.
It is extremely bizarre. And what's funny is you wonder the same thing about Baylor. I think they're cut above, and all the teams with the talent to beat Gonzaga's region, they obviously all lost, that being Iowa lost to Oregon, Kansas lost to USC, Virginia lost in the first round to Ohio.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, I don't want to say Gonzaga and Baylor have had an easy road so far, but they've just looked so dominant. I have a hard time. It really seems like they've been on quite a crash course.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be very, very surprised if Houston beat Baylor. Houston's a good team, obviously. I mean, they're a Final Four team. But yeah, Baylor, I mean, has Baylor been challenged either on their side?
Arkansas played as well as they possibly could, I felt like, but
I didn't see that game, but it wasn't super close at any point.
Yeah, I just have a hard time believing.
Because Villanova, they didn't. That game wasn't super close either. Wisconsin was close for a little bit, but not much. It definitely feels like it's going to be Baylor Gonzaga. I mean, it's what we've hoped for all year. We wanted the matchup in the regular season, but we didn't get it because of Baylor's their stretch of COVID happened right there. But yeah, it sure seems like we're like on pace to, unless Michigan or UCLA is able to pull off a historic upset. I mean, it sure seems like we're definitely destined for that game. And I mean, that's going to be a crazy game. Both teams are as good as we've seen in some years now.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, keep chatting about your thoughts. I'm going to go pull my celebratory pizza out of the oven.
Gonzaga is super interesting because it feels like Gonzaga and Baylor are very similar teams in that they aren't led by a star, but they're really led by the distribution of all five players. Baylor being more on the defensive end, spearheaded by Mitchell, and Gonzaga on the offensive end, spearheaded by Suggs and Kispert. So you wonder when you come down to it, like whether that defense in the end is going to win or whether the offense in the end. And it might come down to Gonzaga's defense versus Baylor's offense, which is going to be something to watch. Drew, coming down to it, who do you think is better right now, Baylor or Gonzaga?
Oh my goodness. Probably Gonzaga.
Tough question.
I would still say Gonzaga. USC, so they had the number 2 or the best 2-point defense in the nation.
Oh, wow.
Coming into this game. Gonzaga shot, let me do some quick math here. If they shot over 60% on their 2-point attempts.
Oh my gosh.
And their passing, especially in the first half, diced up USC. Like, it looked effortless. But to be honest, it looked somewhat effortless at times for Baylor too. Now, what was interesting was Davion Mitchell on Baylor picked up 3 fouls in the first half. And Arkansas made a bit of a push when he was in foul trouble.
Yeah.
But I mean, you talk about Gonzaga's depth. Baylor is also so deep with Maseo Teague and Jared Butler and Davion Mitchell and Vital. Like they're probably more athletic than Gonzaga is.
I would say so.
Man, that backcourt matchup would be incredible.
Oh man, Mitchell and Suggs.
And Suggs, Butler and Ayayi.
Timmy.
That would actually think would be GU's pretty big advantage, was having a really good center. Baylor's also the best 3-point shooting team in the country. Gonzaga would need Kispert to be hitting his shots, and they would need someone else to step up. Gonzaga's offense is just so good, and we haven't seen a team come close to stopping it. West Virginia gave them some problems, and
but that even is then they still won by double digits. Like it still wasn't that close of a game at the end.
That is the only game this season they won by single digits. Gonzaga.
Oh, that is the single digit.
That's the one.
But it's still 7-8 point game.
Yeah, I think it's 5 or 6 actually, but
gotcha, it was closer than I remember.
That's Gonzaga's only non-double digit win since they lost to BYU in February of last year. They're completely
February of 2019, right?
2020
or 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The world. Yeah.
Yeah.
The pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty remarkable what they've been able to do. And they haven't played a top tier team yet. USC was really good, but so far they did play a 16 seed, an 8 seed, 5 seed, and a 6 seed.
Yeah.
So they want, I mean, Gonzaga's taking care of business and they've put on a show doing it. I mean, talking about Drew Timme, what a tournament he is having.
Whew. He's got to be averaging close to like 25, 26 points a game now, right?
Yeah. And so it's funny. Gonzaga is just blitzing USC in the first half, looking at it 49-30. And the two teams actually tie in the second half, scoring 36 apiece. So Gonzaga, it's crazy that they were almost coasting in an Elite Eight game in the second half. Yeah. But I mean, they jump out to the 7-0 lead. They first play of the game, Drew Timme strips USC's point guard, takes it down for a eventual score. Like, it's just silly what they're doing to teams right now. And here's a new stat that just popped up. This is from John Gassaway on Twitter. He does college hoops for ESPN. And Gonzaga is actually outscoring their NCAA tournament opponents, 0.34 points per possession, by more than outscored the WCC, 0.32 points per possession. So, I mean, people talk about, Gonzaga doesn't play anyone. Well, they beat Virginia, Kansas, Auburn, Iowa, West Virginia in non-conference. And now they've gotten to the Final Four, winning by a bigger margin than what they did in the WCC.
Shout out WCC.
I guess so. And this was actually like,
oh man,
WCC was crazy. Better
That's
last
surprising.
year.
That's like really surprising that they're playing that much better too. That they wouldn't. I guess they were probably were coasting more in the WCC games. That's probably why it's not as high as it could. Because I'm sure
absolutely
the margin could be way higher. But I mean, still though, to be in the tournament, outscoring your opponents by more than you did in your quote unquote weaker conference. I mean, obviously it shows that it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Now Gonzaga's 2 wins away from first team since 1976 to have a perfect season. 32-0 is what they would be with wins over UCLA. And Michigan actually just tipped off. They're a minute in. It's 2-0 Michigan. Again, we expect Michigan to win this game. You never know.
Yeah.
But,
kind of feels like a Houston, Oregon State type game where just UCLA is not quite good enough, which is fine. They weren't supposed to be here. It's been an incredible run.
Yeah, totally. And we'll actually be recording an episode, podcast episode later tonight where we'll talk all about the Pac-12 and Oregon State's amazing run. We obviously didn't give Oregon State enough coverage this year, but I mean,
no
one saw this coming.
Man.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. But we'll talk about Oregon. A good run for Oregon. They looked outmatched against USC. USC definitely, I think, proved that they were the best team in the Pac-12 this year.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, they have a top 5 pick and then another first round pick in his brother, Evan and Isaiah, and they have a good base around them. And honestly, they've been the best team in the Pac-12. I think they won the regular season title, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then they did.
Oregon did.
Did Oregon clip them at the end?
Yeah, Oregon got him at the end.
Gotcha. So USC was more consistent all year. Oregon State obviously winning the conference tournament to get in. But yeah, no, UCLA definitely consistently was the best team in the Pac-12 this year.
What game that you watched from Gonzaga this year were you most impressed by, would you say?
I would say, I think it was a game that I know you came over to my place. I think it was versus Virginia.
Oh yeah.
And they just came out and I think Kispert hit 6 threes in the first half.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
And it wasn't like that he was just on fire. Like their ball movement was leading to wide open Kispert threes, which is crazy. Like their ball movement is insane. I mean, they had 21 assists today, which isn't a crazy number, but their movement, they take so many open shots and it doesn't matter who they're playing. Like they're able to create incredible looks. It kind of feels like a college team playing an NBA team in the way of how much they know the game. Because you watch college players and they'll force up contested jump shots left and right. But Gonzaga never does that ever. If it's going to be contested jump shot, they drive it to the rim. So the only contested shots they ever take are in the paint usually, which it shows in their percentages that their percentages are stupid high because they don't take contested shots, and they have enough good players to where anyone on the court at any time could be the one shooting a shot, which is, it's crazy. But yeah, I would say definitely the Virginia game. I didn't see much of Gonzaga in the WCC. They just didn't make it over here on TV very much. But I mean, any game, you really could pick a lot of different games. They really put on a show like whenever they play, and they still don't look beatable. That's what's so crazy. We're 30 games in, and we haven't even seen a scare.
No, I mean, the closest you get is, again, the West Virginia game, but that was like the perfect storm where Suggs got hurt, missed a decent amount of that game. Ended up being fine, luckily. They blanket Kisper on the 3-point line, and Timmy was just way off in the first half, but then just Ayaya and Nemhard step up. So, we'll see if Baylor's athleticism gives them any problems. I think that'd be a really high scoring championship. I think that'd be really exciting. I'm not sure. I mean, Michigan is 2 points, 4 minutes in against UCLA. So, and, I look at Livers is being out is a big blow for Michigan. And Michigan has a 7-2 center in Hunter Dickinson. That would be pretty interesting. Him against Timmy going against each other in the Final Four potentially. Where I think Gonzaga has a pretty big advantage against Michigan is at point guard with Livers out. Mike Smith starts. He's 5'11", and Suggs is a 6'4" big guard. That'd be pretty tough for Michigan, I think.
I know it's tough for them because honestly, I think they would have a legitimate shot at winning the title if they still had Livers. They were really humming with Livers. So that really sucks for them because if he's not their best player, he's number 2. And so he's a stud. So that, especially with his size, that really hurts because, I mean, you even saw it last game. Mike Smith's the point guard's name.
Yeah.
He just, like, especially defensively because of his size, he gets outmatched, and that's not a good sign for how big, strong, athletic, and good Suggs is. So, I mean, anything can happen because this tournament, it's one game. But yeah, you got to like Gonzaga's chances either way, to be honest. You got to think they're going to make the championship.
Then they're so locked in. I think actually this is like bubble scenario helps them where, they have to, like they don't get all the outside noise with the bubble. I think it was Kisper who was talking about how, like, you don't have people telling you how awesome you are outside this bubble. And so you're just locked in. They're focused on winning so much without any outside distractions, really, not less travel. It actually almost makes it easier for them to just be locked in and not have to think about. I mean, it was Nemhard who said, everyone has to go undefeated at this point to win the tournament. So we're no different than anyone now at this point. So I think that's helped their mentality a lot.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
I think.
Gosh, we're having some nice little internet connectivity issues here. Hey, we'll actually probably sign off the live stream for now. We'll obviously be following Gonzaga quite a bit. They play Saturday. We don't know whether they'll get the afternoon game or the evening game. I'm sure they'll announce that after this UCLA-Michigan game wraps up. Winner of this UCLA-Michigan game will be taking on Gonzaga. After that, it's if Gonzaga wins the Final Four, national championship on Monday against winner of Baylor and Houston. We'll see if they can get it done. Thanks to those of you who tuned in to this live stream. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, subscribe to us here on YouTube. We'll have another podcast episode coming out this week. We had a really fun one last week with Casey Benson from Oregon. We've got a bunch in the past. Next week, we'll have a couple guests on talking Oregon State and Gonzaga. So make sure to stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.